So for our school project, we went to Samuel P. Taylor Park. We interviewed Cynthia, and she was awesome.
She literally told us so many facts about the park. It was a really cool experience. I hope you enjoy the video.
What do you think is the significance of this park?
So all parks have importance just because of their environmental and cultural heritage. Here at Samuel P. Taylor, this park became a park because of a gentleman named Samuel P. Taylor who came out here from East Coast, and he started a paper mill out here at this park, and he was the first person to make paper bags using these redwoods that you see over here. The other thing that is important to know about Samuel P. Taylor, he was one of the first people to build a fish ladder beside of the Mississippi. He was a very important person in that aspect.
Our teacher mentioned something about a lumber mill. Can you tell us anything about the lumber mill?
Yeah, for sure. Samuel P. Taylor came out to California in the 1840s. So back then, in 1849 is when someone shouted gold. People from San Francisco and from far away started coming to California. Samuel P. Taylor came out here to San Francisco. He got a little bit of gold. From that money, he was able to come out here and buy a little bit of land. And he started his lumber mill. If you go down the Cross Marin Trail, you can head to the back area and you can see the remnants of where his lumber mill was. Behind you there is a trail that's called the Cross Marin Trail. That used to be the old railroad tracks, and that's how he used to transport his lumber back to San Francisco and to other places.
Who has occupied this park over time?
Before Samuel P. Taylor came out here, there was the coastal Miwoks that were living in this area. In California, what's really fascinating is you go 20, 30 miles different directions in any direction, and you'll run into a different Native American tribe, and they speak a completely different language. But out here, it would have been the Coast Miwok. If you were to go to Yosemite, you would have the Lake Miwok and stuff like that. So,
when did people start camping here?
the story of how Samuel P. Taylor became a state park happened was the family of Samuel P. Taylor, they went through a couple different financial issues throughout their lives. And at one point, the wife of Samuel P. Taylor, she actually had to sell this property, the buildings and the hotel, to some other folks who purchased it from them. And they eventually also ended up having some financial issues. After World War II, we were blessed enough to get Samuel P. Taylor as a state park. The story of how that came about is because of the family Samuel P. Taylor, owners who purchased it after them. The local count basically said to the family that owned it, unfortunately, we're gonna have to repo it from them. Was able to purchase this property and turn it into a state park. Folks then started camping sometime in the mid-50s. And now Samuel P. Taylor State Park is one of the most heavily visited parks in the Bay Area for camping.
What activity, and that means like hiking or whatever, been done the longest?
Samuel P. Taylor, like a lot of state parks, has lots of activities that people can do. One of the most used activity that people do is they love to go mountain biking. We have great trails for doing that for Bolinas Ridge, which is right over there. They can do a loop there. Behind us over here, there's Barnaby. And then we also have great trails for hiking. Just over here in our day use area, we have lots of picnic areas. We have families enjoying themselves, barbecuing, drinking and getting together, and really just being one with nature. Samuel P. Taylor, before it became a park and before Samuel P. Taylor came here, we had the Native Americans that were living on this land, and they lived basically with nature, so they didn't overuse any of our cultural or natural resources. Every so often, maybe every year or 2 years, 3 years, they would come through and they might do a fire. And so these large fires that are raging through California are now occurring because we're not having these natural fires, and also because the Native Americans are no longer specifically doing fires unless they're doing it on their own land. And fires naturally occurred every 7 to 8 years, but then we put a moratorium on that. So that has affected this whole landscape. Now, in terms of historical aspect, we're lucky because of the Native Americans and their stewardship, and because of Samuel P. Taylor, and the fact that when he came in, he realized like this area was very important just for its cultural and natural resources. Although he had a mill here and he was milling the redwood, he also realized that the recreational aspects of this park was very important. We're blessed because this area has been protected because of that. Back in the day, in the late 50s, they wanted to actually build out in Point Reyes, which is just down the road. People saw the foresight, they had the knowledge, they knew the importance of protecting Point Reyes National Seashore from developers and build these communities. Here out on San Francisco Drake, they were actually going to build a freeway from San Rafael that went all the way out to Point Reyes. And so we're very lucky here that we're connected with Mount Tam, which is a very important organization that works to protect and preserve all the species here in this watershed. And so we're a part of that. We're connected to a lot of other open space areas, county and such.